So as we continue to talk about the Golden State Warriors, they are now on their fourth title. I want to ask you guys, is the Warriors Dynasty now officially back after their fourth title win? And where do you guys rank their dynasty among the other NBA dynasties?
Well, I want to clarify something. As a franchise, it's actually their seventh. It's only the fourth for the core members that we've been talking about all this time.
Oh, yeah, man, fourth for the core. Yeah, my bad. Like in that time
span,
4 titles in 8 years. Yeah.
So, I wonder who the governing body is who decides how many championships it takes to be a dynasty, quote unquote, because people seem to be just setting it randomly. Listen, LA and Boston are tied in first place at 17 apiece. Mm-hmm. And right behind them now is Golden State with 7, with the Warriors with 7, because they weren't always in Golden State. So, no one ever questioned. People were calling Chicago a dynasty during the Jordan era. People were calling the Spurs a dynasty during the Tim Duncan era. And they have 6 and 5 respectively. So, I do feel that the Warriors are a dynasty. And I feel that with 7 championships and including 4 in 8 years, that speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if we're going by numbers, they're number 3 behind Boston, LA.
Put them third. Wow.
Strictly by numbers. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like in terms of numbers of overall championships, right? Mm-hmm. The numbers, like you said, Wells, the numbers, mm-hmm. don't lie. Emotionally, for me, I would put them. I'd put them right up there with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, they're not done. The Golden State's not done. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely in the top 3 or 4 of all-time NBA dynasties. I would have to agree.
Yeah, I think we all agree on this. There are dynasties, especially, they could have been to 8 straight NBA Finals appearances if it wasn't for Klay Thompson tearing his ACL in the 2019 Finals, and Kevin Durant ended up tearing his Achilles and leaving the team to go somewhere else. So the only 2 years that they didn't make the playoffs, the only 2 years, that they didn't win the championship was either they didn't make the playoffs and they weren't whole as a team. So this is definitely a dynasty. And they're going to be back and better next year and for years to come, especially Steph is still in his prime at 34. Klay Thompson, who's going to have a year under his belt recovering from the Achilles and the ACL. He'll be back. He'll be more conditioned. Draymond Green, he's going to still be Draymond Green and talk a whole bunch of crap and get in people's faces. And they got the young guys backing him too. They're going to re-sign Jordan Poole to a big contract extension. They're going to re-sign Andrew Wiggins to an extension. So you got those 2 key parts who help you get to the playoffs and help you win a championship are going to be back. Now they got some decisions to make on Kevon Looney and Gary Payton, but for the most part, the most important pieces to help them win the championship will be back. So I don't see Golden State really going anywhere. And if I had to rank them in terms of the all-time dynasties, was the other part of the question, I would have them number 5. They're definitely in the top 5. Obviously, you got to go with the Boston Celtics in the 50s and 60s when they won 11 championships in 12 years, and they won 8 in a row. They just dominated the 50s. I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. Number 2, got to go with the Chicago Bulls from the 90s to the 98s. They went 6 from 6, 2 different three-peats. Never seen nothing like that in the modern era. 3, you got to go with the Kobe and Shaq era. They won a 3-peat. They could have went to a 4-peat if they had their friction and the team just broke apart. And 4, a lot of people are going to be surprised by this, but the San Antonio Spurs, they got 5 titles and 6 finals appearances from 98 to 2014. The only finals that they lost was that Ray Allen clutch 3-pointer shot in the corner in the Miami Heat. Otherwise, they probably would have been 6 for 6, just like the Chicago Bulls in terms of them in their finals appearance. So they got 4 titles and 5 titles, in the 6 finals appearances for the Spurs, and 5, Golden State. When you win 4 titles in 8 years, you can't discount their greatness, especially they won before KD, they won with KD, and they won after KD. So, And honorable mentions, you could have mentioned the Rockets in 94, 95. They won back-to-back, but then, the big bad man, number 23, came back and put a hold to that. Same thing, Miami. They could have possibly went 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 if they didn't choke the first finals that they were together as a team, and the last one to the Spurs. But yeah, the Golden State it's a dynasty, and they're going to be around for another 5, 6 years, and it's scary because everybody got to deal with them in the West for a long time.